Okay. Hi, I'm Ross Lockhart, and you're listening to Legends of Tabletop.
Thank you for joining us, Ross. I really do appreciate you coming and taking the time out of your day to spend with us here at Legends of Tabletop. Can you tell us more about Word Horde and how
Yeah.
the origins came about for that?
Okay. I'd worked for another publisher for a while. I put out a couple of anthologies through them and edited a number of novels and collections through them. And had a great time doing it. And when that fell apart, I said, well, I can either try to find a job in a highly competitive market that favors people on the East Coast, or I can start my own thing. And so I said, well, if it's going to be all that in a horde of words, I'm going to start it and call it Word Horde. And 2013, I put out an anthology called Tales of Jack the Ripper. Got some good attention. Followed that up the next year by doing 3 books. 2 States of the Children of Old Leech, which was a tribute to the carnivorous cosmos of Laird Barron. Worked with Justin Steele on that. And that got some fun attention too. We got nominated for the Shirley Jackson Award, so it's been every year just kind of ramping it up a little bit more and more. And at this point, I'm doing 5 titles a year, generally a couple of novels, a couple of collections, and an anthology. And having a great time doing it and putting out some awesome, wonderful work that people seem to be enjoying.
Oh, definitely. I know that, The Children of Old Leech, that one ranked definitely up there as, if not my very favorite anthology that I ran across that year. That was just absolutely excellent. And thank you for that, for putting the labor into that. I greatly appreciated it, for one. And, which one was it? Tales of Cthulhu 1 and 2?
Book of Cthulhu 1 and 2? Yes.
Yes, Book of Cthulhu 1, that graces my bookshelf as well. Cthulhu 2, not only does it grace my bookshelf, but I also gave that as a gift to a friend of mine. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh gosh, and you have been known for consistently producing very high quality content and award-winning content as well. If you wouldn't mind sharing with us some of the accolades that have been brought upon publications from Word Horde.
Well, the latest being that John Langan's The Fisherman has won the Bram Stoker Award for Superior Achievement in a Novel. That's kind of the big Stoker Award, and I'm so happy to have made it so that John gets to bring home a haunted house. It's quite a cool award. That had previously won Best Novel in the This Is Horror Awards, and a collection I published last year, Livia Llewellyn's Furnace, took Best Collection in the This Is Horror Awards. And previous year in the Stoker Awards, Best First Novel was Nicole Cushing's Mr. Suicide. And so it's a very nice justification. And I'm not in this to win people awards. I'm not in this to win awards, but it really does tell you you're doing something right when folks go out of their way to not just read the book, but to recommend it in these genre awards showcases and vote for them. And it makes you feel like you've done something right.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a really rewarding feeling to know that not only have you been able to provide a platform, but the means for someone to tell their story and have it be recognized and appreciated by others.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And I value story. And there's a lot of back and forth as to what people were really looking for when they go out and buy a book. And for me, because we are storytelling animals, you know, this is the thing that sets us apart from anything else on this planet. We create stories, we create fictions, and we write these down and we share these with each other. And sometimes there's a degree of ritual to it. Sometimes it's just, hey, did you hear this one? And it, to me, it is quite wonderful and quite almost sacred to be able to take something, make it up, and give knowledge and joy to other people through that mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely. What, oh, let's see. It has been my experience that you are welcoming to new voices in the writing world and very approachable. Calling from my own experience at the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival, when you took the time out of your day to speak with me and let me pitch you something. And I greatly appreciate that. I have yet to follow through, but yes, it was that small, letting me speak, I guess, that had given me much needed push in any direction at that point in time. Now, what do you have in the pipeline?
Well, coming up this year,
Mm-hmm.
2 of our 5 titles have been released. That would be Christine Morgan's Viking collection, The Raven's Table. I've been a fan of Christine's work for several years and have been looking for excuses to work with her over time. In big part because I had read her short story, as I block on it, The Barrow Maid, which is the story that opens up The Raven's Table. And I read that in its original, the anthology it was originally published in years ago, and it made me a fan. And I've read a number of her works over the years. I had a story by her in the anthology Cthulhu Fhtagn, and she had pitched me the concept of doing a full collection with her Viking stories, and knowing the excellence she brought in the ones that I had read, reading the others that she wanted to include in the collection, it really came together in a fun way. It's definitely a different sort of anthology, a different sort of collection than a lot of what's out there right now. But I think people are hungry for interesting stories, and with TV shows like the Vikings TV show and Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology, there's an interest in that sort of thing, and so it's wonderful to have the hammer hit at the right time.
Yeah.
And then just put out at the end of April, Christy DeMeester's debut novel, which is called Beneath, and it's the Snakes and Jesus novel. It's a wonderfully dark, apocalyptic journey into Appalachian snake handling cults, and this reporter who's trying to get beyond her past and figure out where she's headed in the future amid things just coming to a biblical disaster point. Yeah, it's neat, it's lush, it's just wonderfully constructed language throughout, and it's got this fever dream sense of glossolalia and sitting in a bloody church. Someone handles venomous snakes, and it's been getting quite a nice reaction so far. It's only been out a few days, and the reviews have been really strong, and pre-orders have been really good. So I'm overjoyed to be putting this into folks' hands. Coming up, I've got Tony McMillan's rock and roll novel. This is quite fun. It's called An Augmented Fourth, and got work on it here, and the cover is going to look so much sexier on the final version.
Cool.
But we're still tweaking it. This is Spinal Tap meets The Thing.
Oh,
Crazy body horror and pure rock and roll, and a real wonderful nod to Black Sabbath. And I think people are going to get a real kick out of it. It's quite funny, but it's also got some great shocks and scares to it, and it's good stuff.
that sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I don't have a cover to show you yet. I'm still working on it, but I've also got a collection from Nadia Bulkin coming out early fall. It's called She Said Destroy. And if you've read Nadia's work, you know it's just amazing stuff. It's so engaged. It is, as they say, woke. And it is just quite great stuff. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting that into folks' hands. And closing out the year, Halloween Tales from a Talking Board, which is an anthology inspired by Ouija and tarot cards and various forms of divination. And I'm putting final work into constructing the table of contents right now, just kind of weighing things and making sure it just feels right. Part of my philosophy with anthologies is that every story needs to connect with the one that came before it, to build a conversation, to build an overall experience, and to take the reader for a ride. I know most people kind of pick at anthologies and they read them out of sequence. They read their favorite author's story first, but I want you to be able to start at the beginning of one of my anthologies and just take it as a roller coaster ride, because I've got fun sights to show you.
Awesome. I can't wait for that. I cannot wait, especially for Augmented Fourth. And unfortunately, I'm speaking from my own personal desires there. But yes, and also the talking board. And I can't help, speaking of talking boards, your bookshelves are speaking to me. I see them behind you. Unfortunately, for now, at this very moment, I'm going to take a very brief split second in time and talk with you about the wonders of coffee. Okay. Birds of a Feather Coffee Company. They have been bringing to you some wonderful personalized blends of coffee. Go to birdscoffeecompany.com. Migrate the flock on down to birdscoffeecompany.com and enter the code LEGENDS10 for 10% off of your order for a limited time. And hopefully you'll be able to edit that into a decent spot for our sponsors, and thank you very much. But yes, your bookshelves do speak with me, do speak to me. Speaking of boards speaking, they remind me very briefly of the scene from They Live, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, if you break it down, like every single frame in that shot in the bookstore is just filled with wonderful suggestions. If you've ever broken it down. But yeah, if you could guide us very briefly through what you've got going on and bookshelves behind you, I would appreciate it.
Okay, so should I just point, or?
You can point, that's fine.
Okay,
you can do whatever you like.
So I've got a brag shelf up top with word horde stuff, and it's getting filled up.
Yes.
Over to the left, I've got several different printings of Book of Cthulhu and Book of Cthulhu 2, because they've been through multiple printings. It's like, okay, wow, there's a hardcover edition of Book of Cthulhu now. Go figure. I didn't know that would ever happen. But I've also got stuff like, Chick Bassist is up there, and I'm going to show you.
Oh, okay.
You know what Chick Bassist looks like as an actual book, but it looked like
Oh, wow.
For a while before it became a book. Because, well, that was my master's thesis. So, yeah, I wrote a book in college and somebody actually bought it. And it was awesome working with Cameron Pierce at Lazy Fascist Press to bring that out into the world. And, you know, I'm a slow writer. I'm a meticulous slow writer, and I'm not such that I'm, you know, doing the George R.R. Martin sort of thing of taking years and then all of a sudden there's a million words. No, if you're lucky, you'll get, you know, 40,000 words out of me in as much time. But I do like to get those words out there. And when somebody reads Chick Bassist, it's like, oh, that's a gift. That's a wonderful thing. And fortunately, people seem to think it's a gift that works both ways because they seem to dig it when they read. But yeah, tons of books. I feel most comfortable when I'm surrounded by books. It's being surrounded by ideas, and I love the physical form of a book. I'll read stuff electronically, but it's only when I have to push through it. The sheer luxury of being able to pick up a well-constructed book and thumb through it and feel the paper and smell the book, and
Yes.
that weird sort of vanilla-like scent that a good old book has. It's decadent.
Yes. Speaking of the feel of books, I have gotten my hands on some newer paperbacks that have been released from Word Horde, and the style, and I've noticed the feel of the finish on the printed books that you have on the covers. It's got this wonderful satiny, almost velvety feel, a wonderful touch and feel in the hand.
That's very much by design. I want the books I produce to feel like a luxury, to feel like you've gone out of your way to get something that is different than everything else that's out there. And I'm never sure I 100% hit that, but I come as close as I can. And every one I do, it gets me a little closer to that ideal. If I ever hit the perfect book, I might just quit and say, okay, that's it.
Oh, something about that statement makes me doubt that would ever happen. But I'm looking here at this list that you have on your website of Hail the Horde, of the ferociously talented literary warriors. Now, why am I not surprised? These wonderful people. I know I have gotten to meet or friend a bunch of these, either in person or be it via Facebook messaging, etc. Now, I was going to say, Sean Thompson above, is he the person that's responsible for formatting the website?
Not formatting, but I do a lot of kind of publicity stuff for me for a little while. He's just had a couple of books released, and he's a lot more busy with that right now, but he does a lot of interviews for me.
Oh, okay.
And he's a good guy. And he's got a short book called Hate from the Sky. That's a really interesting read. Recommended.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because I'm just going through here and I see some of these are highlighted with the links to the author's pages or work. And then some of them are not, unfortunately. So this might be a call out to y'all if you have not noticed your site on this list. You might want to get that taken care of.
Yeah, sometimes it's not as easy to find people on the internet as one would hope.
Yes. I mean,
And
especially in dealing with this type of content.
oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, sometimes little things change here and there, and it's like, oh, that web page that used to point to that great author is horse racing.
Yes. Yeah, I've run into that before with a certain specific person in the past that I did have an interview with, and he does wonderful work, amazing human being. I hope that he updates his webpage. So anyway, with that being said, but yeah, oh gosh, let's see. Oh man, you know what? We've burnt through a majority of my questions, and that's okay.
Well, groovy.
Yeah. So what is it that you do look for when you are looking at a new submission or an item that has landed in your lap? Do I publish this? Do I not publish this? What are the topics that go through your mind in the selection process?
I definitely want a story that hooks me. I want something that every page is going to make me want to read the next page. I don't want a book that I fall out of easily. I find voice very important. I love when an author has a unique sense of voice and really feels like something unique out in the field, doesn't sound like anybody else. I like a sense of place. That was one of the real joys about putting together the Ripper anthology, was realizing how many of the stories people brought Jack home with them. And so Sylvia Moreno Garcia set her story in Mexico City, or there were some Pacific Northwest Jack the Rippers. And so it really, it's the little things that resonate that grab me. And those can take a story and you hang too many things on it, you weigh it down. But if you give it just the right touches, it levitates. And it's a balance. It's finding the absolute right way to kind of fit between things as an author. But when you read it, you know it. You know it's different. You know it's unique. And those are the ones to jump at.
Awesome. Now, what would be your top 10? Would you say that you have a top 10 turnoffs list?
No, not really. I've got a few things that will generally knock me out. Unexplained violence for the sake of violence, that doesn't really work for me. I really think that whereas violence is an important part of horror fiction and an important part of fantasy fiction and an important part of the human condition, when it just becomes that sort of grand guignol grotesquerie for grotesquerie's sake, it's easy to just go, okay, no, this isn't right. Yeah. Cruelty. I don't really want to see cruelty in a book unless it drives the story along. So it's much more abstract than a list of things that'll turn me off, and more of ooh, there are things that sometimes I hit and go, ooh, that just doesn't keep it going.
Now, oh gosh, let's see. So we've gone through the things that you'd like to see, the things that you don't like to see. Hmm. What's your standard length that you would prefer?
I'm not really big on epic novels. I've worked on a couple of things when I was at the other
Another place.
I worked on a trilogy with a guy named Bradley P. Bolio, this Russian fantasy series with flying ships, and it's full of awesome. And these books all clocked in 150, 200,000 words each, and I loved working on them. But that kind of length isn't really my thing. I really like a nice kind of tight sense of story. And I think the magic spot for horror tends to be somewhere in that 60,000 to 80,000 word range. You can do 100,000, you can do 120, but you really need to earn that extra space. And that's something that John Langan's The Fisherman does. It's a little more than 100,000 words, and it earns every word. But something like Mr. Suicide was 65,000 words, somewhere in that neighborhood. And Augmented Fourth is around 65,000 words as well. And that's a length that I think most people can read over the course of a day or two. It's an experiential length. It's something that if you've read Poe's nonfiction, he talks sometimes about unity of effect, and I think shorter novels give you that sense of I am in the same place, I am experiencing all this, and I'm not getting lost on the way.
So what are your thoughts on the Kickstarter trend to publish anthologies?
It's expensive to do anthologies, and so I can respect the Kickstarter model as merely a way of doing it. But it seems like everybody's doing it that way. So I think some of the unusualness about earlier Kickstarter projects is kind of, the blushes off the rose at this point. And there are a couple of publishers out there that seem to kickstart everything they do. And that gets a little bit pet peevy to me. Just because it feels like, hey, it's time to pass around the hat again. But the reality is it takes money to put out cool books. And either you have to put out books that make money, or you have to raise capital in other ways to be able to, attract good writers to the project, to be able to put good covers on it, be able to put good designers on it, copy editors, every little task that goes into making a book cool. So if that's what it takes to do it, by all means, do it, kickstart it. But if you can do it other ways, by all means, do it that way too. There's no one path.
Now, I'm gonna bust into some other questions that have been labeled the final five, but I have taken some liberties with them. So let's go meta. What question would you prefer I would have asked you?
Nah, I got no regrets here. So that question.
Yes.
What question would you prefer I hadn't have asked you? That's the question.
Yes. Well, do you have an answer or no?
No, that is the answer. It's
okay. Oh gosh. Music question. What
Okay.
album can you listen to all the way through without skipping a single track?
Oh, there's a few.
List them.
Two Hunters, Wolves in the Throne Room. I put that on. I have to listen to it top to tail. It's like it's just one song. It isn't, but it's like it is.
Kind of like Sleep's Dope Smoker.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are breaks in there, but it's a story, and yeah, that definitely works. But at the same time, I listen to, and when people say I listen to everything, they're usually lying. I actually do listen to just about everything, and I've always got music of some kind on around the house. Oftentimes it's jazz or swing, because it's got a rhythm that I can work to and keep moving to, and it's complex enough that my brain doesn't dwell enough, but simple enough that I can enjoy it.
Okay. What job, if you were offered it, would make you immediately just drop everything because you're going to go do this? You've got to do this now.
Wow. I have no idea. Because it'd still be a job. And I'm kind of used to working for myself.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, let me rephrase that. What opportunity? If you had the opportunity to do this for this project, what would that project be?
Well, I haven't made a movie yet, so that would be fun.
Yeah.
But see what goes, if anything comes of that. But I love what I do. I run Word Horde, and I work part-time at a bookstore, and I have a great time doing both. I get to talk to people about books all day long. Or I get to, read stuff all day long and look through artist portfolios and go, that would make the perfect cover for that. Working with cool people. So I'm living the dream.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, okay. Now, video game or tabletop, which games do you prefer? Video games or tabletop games?
I like both, but I'm not a gamer. I'm so much of the casual pickup and take 3 minutes to learn how to play it kind of gamer. So I'll futz around with games on my phone, but I don't really download big complicated games on the computer. And if you can, get a bunch of people together and everybody gets a big handful of dice and just gets to throw them, that's a lot of fun.
Yes. Speaking of dice, another brief word from our sponsors regarding Easy Roller Dice Company. EasyRollerDice.com, makers of fine gaming dice in a multitude of materials, metals, and different colored plastics. If you would like electric blue dice, EasyRollerDiceCompany.com. Please enter the code LEGENDS10 for a 10% discount. Also, tame that beard. Ready it for battle with the with Rogue Beard Oil, which is also offered by EasyRollerDice.com. Thank you very much. Now, Star Wars, Star Trek, or if you don't like either of the previous selections, Dune. Which would you prefer?
Oh, I definitely go Star Wars and then maybe Star Trek, and then maybe Dune. I like a lot of the ideas in Dune, but it's so baroque and overcomplicated that it's just like, but you know, somewhere in there, it's like Silent Running and Planet of the Apes and Dark Star and the Thing. You know, the Alien films. And those really hit me in so many ways as much as, you know, Star Wars and Star Trek. Definitely the apes. Okay. Aliens and Apes. Has anybody done Aliens and Apes?
Oh. Together?
Yeah.
Oh. The closest thing that I could think of is Cowboys and Aliens, but that's not that.
No.
It's a winner.
Century Fox's phone number.
Yeah. Let's see. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Reset button.
Oh. Yeah.
Because every once in a while things just go wrong, and it would be so nice to go, yeah, I didn't like that election.
Yeah. A reset button would be nice. However, not a meta type of reset button. That'd be too much. But just yeah. Marvel or DC?
Oh, I go back and forth. Every few years, it's like one or the other of them is pissing me off. Cinematically, Marvel. They're acing things at the moment.
Yeah.
And DC is kind of embarrassing at the moment.
Yeah. Science fiction or fantasy? Either or.
Fantasy.
Okay.
But usually dark fantasy. Or dark chocolate.
Okay. Excellent. So, anything else that you would like to speak of coming up in the pipeline? Any rumors?
Well, I'll confirm a rumor that I did acquire a book for next year already, and you know, working on some other stuff. But in February, I will be publishing David Peake's black metal novel Corpse Paint, and yeah, it's bleak and it's beautiful, and I'm looking forward to showing that off. And we're you know, getting everything on paper now, but oh, it's brutal.
Make me giggle with glee.
And there'll be more good stuff coming. I'm just kind of figuring out the schedule right now and figuring out how it all fits together.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ross, for taking the time to speak with us here at Legends of Tabletop. I do greatly appreciate wasting your time for about a half an hour to 45 minutes. I do appreciate it. And well, is there anything else that you would like to say before we sign off?
That's all I've got. Thank you so much for having me. Hey, folks, buy weird books.
Okay.
And have a wonderful day.
Keep it strange. Talk to you soon.